What is the tea?
Give me your wig. Give me your wigs. You don't know what to do with it. Give me your.
Thank you for those of you who have signed up to patreon.com/AdrianExpression. If you have not yet, make sure that you do go and check out the latest episode of my podcast entitled Honey Pot Got 'Em Hot. And of course, I talk about the whole honey pot and Target thing that everybody, a certain segment, a certain demographic was really angry about. I mean, we even talked about the president's response to the coronavirus. Just a couple days ago, I saw him asking a health official, well, if we have a good flu shot, won't that mean that it can be effective against the coronavirus too? Get his ass out of here. We covered a lot of topics that the patrons sent in. So like I said, podcast, extra content, early videos, make sure that you go to patreon.com/AdrianExpression and check it out. While we're on the topic of social media, Twitter has decided out of all the upgrades that they could give the site, they say, we're gonna give you some Twitter stories, okay? Just like Instagram stories, I think Facebook has it as well. Twitter said we're gonna give you Twitter stories, but we're going to call it fleets. And the homosexual in me just wants to go up to their offices and just knock on the door like, sis, do y'all know what y'all actually doing? Y'all calling this shit fleets? And I know the play on words like fleeting thoughts because it's literally like a story. You have to click your Abby to see it. It disappears after 24 hours. You cannot like retweet or like or anything like that. You can only respond to fleeting thoughts in your DMs. And that makes so much sense because it does go down in the DMs. I mean, since y'all are already on the topic of fleeting and stuff. But that's just a heads up for those of you who use Twitter and you're wondering like, okay, why is everybody talking about fleeting and stuff? No, we don't have to make a quick run to CVS, you know what I mean? They're just coming up with these news stories. Good job, Twitter. I don't know what to tell them. Now, I don't know what exactly it is, maybe because they know they're gonna have to be filming outside, that they say, we're just gonna go ahead and release these pictures so that y'all can see it, or maybe it's just to keep us invested because like I said before, I'm so tired of these Batman stories, but they released some pictures, girl, of this Batmobile riding around. Now, sis, depending on the insurance of that motherfucker, like how much it costs, I might want to take a ride. And no, I'm not talking about on Robert Pattinson. I might want to take a ride in that Batmobile, girl. It looks very sickening. It does give me video game type of tease, like it should be something that is featured in Cyberpunk 2077. But, y'all are doing all this build-up. I really hope that you deliver with this movie. The aesthetics and the visuals look cute. Y'all just might get me to watch Bruce Wayne put on a mask and beat people up in the streets instead of going to therapy for the deaths of his parents. Yet again, here we go again. But I just want to show y'all this Batmobile. I'm sure before I drive it around, I'm gonna have to take it to the state of Georgia so that they can check all the emissions and all that shit. So remember that whole Megan Thee Stallion situation that we were talking about. Apparently Carl, the CEO of 1501, that is her label, he went onto Billboard and was just doing some heavy ass dragging, girl. He was just, he mentioned her mother so many times, talking about, girl, your mother was sitting at the table doing the deals. It's disrespectful to your mother. I was like, oh my God. He was calling Megan all types of liars and frauds. He was saying that Rock Nation, they always do this type of shit just because I'm smaller. They want to basically take Megan from me, take everything that I invested, and I'm owed a bunch of money and shit. Girl, either way, like I said before, a judge came in and said, hey girl, we're putting a restraining order against y'all ass, and that prevents y'all from stopping Megan from dropping her music on Friday. And by the way, this is the album cover and this is the track list that she has apparently said that she's going to be giving. The girl, she's going to be feeding us everything that we wanted because we're over here starving. Very, very interested to see what crying in the car is going to be about. I feel like all of us have been there. So definitely relatable. But either way, apparently I saw that Carl was trying to go back to the judge or get a hearing to see if he can still block Megan, even after they said that shit, that he couldn't do it. They're trying to get a hearing to see if he can still block Megan from releasing all this fucking music. There's a bunch of arguments about the fact that, oh well, she had one of the best contracts in the music industry, so I don't know why she mad. But then they went and did a 70-30 thing on her tour and merchandise and shit. It is confusing all over the place. In my opinion, I think a couple things could be happening. I think Rock Nation wants to make a whole bunch of money off of Megan Thee Stallion without having to deal with 1501. I think that maybe when Megan got with Rock Nation, she saw that just how shitty the contract actually is, and now she wants out of it. And maybe 1501 is just like, girl, no ma'am, you're not leaving this shit until I get all my coin. When Carl was asked specifically about if Megan has to pay recording fees, you know, mixing fees, all that shit, from the 40% out of that 60-40 deal. He gave a really vague, weird answer. So it's like all across the board, it's very confusing. At this point, I just want music. I want the album, and I want sis to get paid for it. That's it. And before we talk about Super Tuesday, I think that my views on voting are evolving, and it has to do with a lot of the people that I follow online and, you know, their discussions and debates. But when you're someone, or when you're a part of a community, and you can see directly that the establishment that exists has been and continues to do everything in their power, not only to silence your voice, not only to erase you from their considerations when they create policies, but they also do everything in their power to see if they can erase your vote. Then how can I really be pressed about these same people from these same communities not wanting to, or not being excited about participating in this exact process? There were many reports when it came to voting on Super Tuesday that said that, I mean, there were lines long as hell, not enough machines. There were some people who rated 7 hours to vote, and especially if you're coming from either low-income communities or working class communities, period, a lot of people do not have the fucking time or the money to waste to just be spending 7 hours to vote, especially when, as advanced as our country is, they could get this shit done in an efficient way, in a timely manner, but that's if they wanted to. That's if they wanted your ass to vote. That's if they weren't out here spending money and creating multiple ways to make sure that certain communities cannot vote. Some people there was just like, I was not gonna let them turn me away because I know that's what they wanted me to do. I know that voter suppression is real. I know that they try to make these lines and shit long as hell so that we don't end up voting. Some people were saying that, but you know, what happens to the people who literally cannot do that, who literally cannot afford to wait so long? And my thing will always be is that if you really think that you're touching the hearts of the people, if you really think that you're speaking to them, you would not be afraid, or if you actually cared about them, you would not be afraid to let them vote. But we see what's going on in politics in this country, I'm not surprised. So it all went down on Super Tuesday. You can call them the primary elections, whatever you want to call them. The results are not cute, honey. At least for me, girl. The results are not cute. Let's first start with Elizabeth Warren, girl. How she didn't win no state? How she didn't win? She didn't win not once, not even her home state, honey. She didn't even win her home state. Okay, we're gonna move right along from that. Michael Bloomberg shit was struggling. I guess that's why his ass dropped the fuck out. It's very interesting because I think he spent upwards of like $500 million trying to get his ass elected. Very interesting that that's just a percentage. That's still just a petty ass percentage of his actual wealth and net worth. He spent $500 million like it was nothing, and that really lets me know that he was more willing to spend that money on ads. He thought that that would be less hurtful than actually just paying his goddamn tax, or paying taxes in a more progressive, I wouldn't even say very, but more progressive administration. Crazy. He did all that shit and still was, you know, struggling, dropped out. All right, so Biden won most of the delegates. You know, when I'm making this video, Biden won most of the damn delegates. He did extremely well on Super Tuesday, and Sanders came up right behind him. I'm so pressed about this, especially when I hear the fact that like multiple news stations, news networks have talked about the fact that a lot of the black vote went to Biden. I'm just like, I wish people would just do their research. Just research what the man did and voted for. And it's just like, I tweeted this, I said, I feel like Joe Biden has risen to this level based off of just name recognition. I mean, every time he opens his mouth, I can barely understand his ass just because of how weird his arguments are set up. I mean, he seems so confused half the time, and that's not even getting into the things that he has done in the past. No politician is perfect, but goddamn. The whole party, I'm talking about Amy, Pete, Michael Bloomberg, they said, girl, I don't know about that fake ass revolution that y'all have going on, but what I know is that I want to continue with the status quo, okay? And if things continue to go how they're going, it seems like they're gonna get it. What I found very interesting was that Simone Sanders was up here, right? At Joe Biden's like Super Tuesday rally in California because he did so well, and you know, they're over here celebrating, and this vegan protester or something, Death to Dairy or something, whatever, she came up on stage and Simone Sanders came in there, girl, and she, I mean, it was given, they said that she was giving Dora Milaje type of tease. I said she was giving Dothraki tease. She went up there like a soldier, honey, and she took that woman right on off the stage. Many things weird with that. First thing, I don't understand how that protester was even to get that close to the goddamn stage so quickly. It's like, girl, that could have been somebody else and not a protester. That's all I'm saying. She could have been holding something more complicated, something more threatening than a damn sign. Second of all, the way that Simone Sanders, I mean, she was on the air. That's how I was introduced to Simone Sanders. She was on the air talking about the real issues and trying to get people to think outside the box when it comes to the progressive movement. Like she was really over here doing the damn thing on air. And as soon as Biden cut that check, she over here acting like somebody's Kingsguard. And you know, I just hate when I can see what people have done to communities like the ones where Simone Sanders comes from and what they continue to do and how they don't really care about nuance when it comes to these, you know, different populations and demographics. And I see everybody just sacrificing their body, black body, everybody just running up to defend like Simone Sanders. And these people, in my opinion, wouldn't do the same shit for you. It's just that check better be fat. It better have cleared to your account. But I thought that shit was weird. And she went up on Twitter talking about, I broke a nail. Like, oh yeah, I really did that. Yeah, girl, you went up there and shoved somebody who said death to dairy off the stage. Yeah, girl, you real big and bad running up there to rush somebody. Or a politician that stands for the very things that you were speaking up against just a few months, a couple years before. It's crazy to me. So I thought that you guys might find this hilarious. Even though he blocked me, I still found a way to see these tweets. Breaking! This is what Shaun King said. MSNBC and Rachel Maddow just reported that multiple senior officials within the Democratic Party are interfering with the primaries to stop Bernie Sanders. They reported that the party has asked Bloomberg to drop out so that Biden would have an easier time against Bernie. And that's not at all what she said, because she went up there and she said, what? I reported no such thing. And, you know, Shaun King tried to come back with this clip of Rachel Maddow saying that someone said that sources within the Democratic Party were trying to put pressure on Bloomberg to drop out, but she didn't say anything about that being related in any way to them wanting to fuck with Bernie. She also didn't say that senior officials within the Democratic Party said. So he really twisted up her words, and he tried to act really disingenuous and intellectually dishonest when she brought up the fact that that's not what she said. And I just find it interesting that Shaun King has so much confidence to go after somebody or to try and put words in the mouth of somebody like Rachel Maddow, who is, like I said before, she is the queen of receipts. And if she wanted to, she could just do a quick Google search. She wouldn't even have to contact her contacts or do any in-depth reporting. All she has to do is a quick Google search and find out what's going on with your deceptive ass, Shaun King. You got a lot of nerve. A lot. So if you're wondering why Shaun King and Rachel Maddow are trending or why they're in the news, that's why. And I feel like if I had a Shaun King's confidence, I would go deep sea diving without so much as a scuba mask, without an air tank, without fins, without any of that. I would just try to swim down to the depths, to the bottom of the Mariana Trench while trying to hold my breath, girl. Please stop, sis. On that note, thank you all so much for watching. Like I said in the beginning of this video, make sure that you check out patreon.com/AdrianExpression. Love you so much, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.